Welcome, our lovers of love. Tonight on Late Night Love, we are talking relationships. We got social media. Is that crushing our intimacy? And we've got a host of questions that I am not going to really go through tonight. I'm not going to give you a thing, but we do actually have some intimacy questions. And the one I am going to bring up is sex a chore? That's something interesting to talk about. Can sex become a chore? That's going to be an interesting discussion. So stick around for the second half of the show. At the end of the show, we kind of discuss that. So, but before we get into all that, we're just going to kind of jump in. Social media, is it crushing our intimacy? Because we dove a little bit into this on Thursday night show. But the question is, modern world has given us so many new connections. But I suppose the connections that we've lost should be discussed. Because while I can connect with someone from across the world, the connection I don't have is with my neighbor. 20 years ago, when we lived in an apartment, you knew your neighbors. You knew the person upstairs, you knew the person across the hallway. You knew your neighbors. And okay, yeah, now I know who my neighbors are, kind of. I know the person who lives down the street, a house and a half, because they've been here 20 years, longer than me. I know the person next to us because they've been here since the beginning of the neighborhood. But I don't really know anybody else in the neighborhood. Part of it's because I'm never outside. I don't do yard work. So I don't really interact with any of the neighbors. I drive everywhere because my knees hurt and I don't like walking. So, let's be honest. Even if my knees didn't hurt, I'm probably not drive. I'm probably not walking around anyway. It's not my thing. I'm not a person who enjoys a walk, unless I'm going to the top of a mountain. That'll do. Don't make it make sense. Don't ask it to make sense.
Where I am out and about in the morning around the neighborhood, and you were talking. I was sitting here thinking, there's about a dozen people in the neighborhood I know.
Yeah,
but I don't know their name. But I know their face, and I know stuff about them. I remember what they said.
Yeah, but so I understand. So the question is social media. I don't think it's an answerable question because I think it's changing our intimacy rather than crushing it. The question is it crushing our intimacy? I don't think so. I think it's creating new connections. But at the same time, I think some of those new connections are shallow's the wrong word. Not as stable, not as strong as when you have actually meet someone face to face and you can actually shake their hand and say hello and
So do you think that physical contact does something? Is it in the proximity, being in the proximity?
I suspect there's something ingrained in us that when you can physically look someone in the eye, when you're 2 feet from them, and you can theoretically smell their pheromones, smell their hormones, you can see their body languages, you can see the twitches in not just their eye, but in their whole body. You can see how they stand, how they don't. You can size someone up better. And human beings are actually quite good at that. It's a survival instinct. And so I suspect that that's what we're losing. There's an uncertainty that when you only meet someone online, right?
I have to admit, there's always a part of myself. I'm not fully committed.
Yeah, well,
because they can ghost you.
Yeah, but that happens.
And they do.
But that happens in, real life. You give someone a card. Yeah, I'll call you next week, and they never call you. You get ghosted all the time. It's not a thing.
Honey, I don't date.
We're not talking about dating.
I'm not giving out my number.
I'm just saying the ghosting happens all the time, right? In terms of.
Well, I have one friend.
Well, I don't know. I think it's changing the way we interact, and there is some loss to that. That there is some loss to that human connection, I think. Now, maybe it's just because we're used to it. and we'll adapt because we're humans and we adapt. You know, if nothing else, we're adaptable. So maybe over time we'll learn to be more comfortable. But I suspect.
Well, I think the younger generation already has. You know.
Well, I think the younger generation is getting off of social media.
Oh.
I suspect that, you know, at least it's becoming more superficial, but less important. So everybody participates, but people care less about what happens there. As they should. As they should. Okay, so we're on to our questions. We got a lot of them, so let's get it started. Okay.
Just a moment. Okay. My best friend confessed to me that he tampered with a condom, resulting with a friend's pregnancy. I don't know what to do.
This is actually a difficult one because you've got a number of different moralities that you've kind of got to deal with. I think you have to tell the young lady, and I don't know what she's going to do with it, but that's her decision to deal with.
She needs to know. She was, I mean, what would you call that? Assault?
Well, yes and no. I mean, condoms fail all the time. So you're like we said, you're taking a risk anytime you have intimate relations with somebody. And you know, is this any different than someone who says I'm on the pill but they're not? Yes and no. So, but the person who does need to answer that question is the young lady. Well, I mean, she's 25, so she's not overly young, but she's the one who has to make the choice of how she deals with it.
I think she has a right to know too.
And since you're her friend, you know, you have a different morality responsibility than you do if she was theoretically just, you know, somebody you didn't know, you didn't have a friendship with. You know, you have a responsibility to be more open and honest with your friends than you do with a stranger. You just do. We may not like that, but it's the reality of the world, right? That's why they're friends. You look out for them and you take care of them when you need to. And in this particular case, you need to find a new friend. Your best friend is probably not worthy or is going through some issues, but one way or another, you know, you should rethink that and you need to let the other one know. And maybe they end up not caring because they're kind of happy they had the baby anyway, which is, you know, it's a coin flip on that. You know, who knows?
I don't know if he'd be my best friend anymore. I mean, what if he did something to me?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? That's the point. That's hard. So, like I said, there's lots of conflicting morality, which is why he's sitting there having a tough time trying to figure out what to do because there's a ton of
there's a lot here.
You know, you don't snitch on your best friend, but at the same time, there's more morality to that than here, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a universal truth. There are times you snitch on your best friend, and is this one of them? You know, it's my suspicion is the answer comes down to yes, it is one of them. But it's not such an easy call as we would all wish it to be. We'd wish it'd be an easier call. But, you know, humans have emotions, and you get emotions with your best friend mixed in. It becomes difficult.
It does.
Yeah. But you've got another friend to consider too. So, okay. What's next? Hopefully something better. Okay.
Boyfriend slept through my birthday. Now, it was in the evening. He had been studying up all day into the evening studying for his finals. And he went to take a nap and he crashed.
Yeah. You can celebrate your birthday on any day. I get it. Some people really enjoy having their birthday and having a big special thing, but you can't expect the rest of the world to
No,
to circulate around you.
can't.
If your boyfriend's going through finals and he crashed, it means he needed to crash. And it's healthier for him to get the sleep. And so you go celebrate your birthday on the next weekend or the next time you guys have, you can still do that. I understand her emotions, right? But now is the time to learn how to manage your emotions and, reality and various responsibilities,
She is 22.
Yeah. You've got a lot of birthdays coming up, and you and I have vastly different views on birthdays, right? I
have a birthday month.
I can take them or leave them. And so,
I'm told I get a day, but I don't recognize that.
So, it's perfectly fine for you to enjoy your birthday on your own. You don't necessarily need your partner.
And here's a word of advice. If you want your birthday to go a certain way, you have to plan it yourself.
Yeah. You just do.
Sorry, you just do. People cannot read your mind.
Why do you think guys go golfing on their birthdays and things like that? They just go off and do things by themselves. If guys could really have their best birthday, they're just going off and do things by themselves. Yeah. Get the ties from the kids, whatever. They appreciate the thought, but just want to go golfing and be by myself. That's what they want to do. They want to relax on their birthday, generally speaking. So they do it.
And I always want to be with one of my girls.
So
I plan spending the day with one of them, and they acquiesce. They try to make my day special, and they always do.
Yeah, so put your birthday in perspective. Celebrate it another day after finals. You may have to wait till after finals. It's not that it's not that you're less important than finals. It's that your birthday can wait and finals don't. You can celebrate your birthday on any day. You can't take your finals on any day. Those will just happen when they happen. And, so when your birthday happens to fall on a day where there's nothing else to do and there's no finals and there's no stress, and you can enjoy it. Now, you're going to have to plan a vacation around that because you're now an adult and you're going to have to be in this world of work, and you're often going to be working on your birthday. So if you really want to enjoy your birthday, you're going to have to plan that sucker a year in advance. At least plan the time off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's my suggestion. Put your birthday in perspective. Enjoy it when you can. Next opportunity. Okay.
My daughter, 18, is dating a 51-year-old for 2 months now. How would you deal with this as a parent?
There's a lot of this going around again.
Is it? No way. Really? It's back in vogue?
Yeah, it's like this Bill Belichick guy. He's 70-something, and he's going there with this 26-year-old lady. One of the movie actor guys he's in his late 50s, and he's going with some 20-year-old. And yeah, it's creepy, but why is it we only find the guys creepy? Why don't we find the girls in this thing creepy?
And why do we not find Cher and her 36-year-old boyfriend? And she's what, 60-something, 70? I'm not sure.
No,
I mean, we're like, good for her, There's a hypocrisy here.
Yeah, we're all angry at the men for dating 18-year-old women, but we kind of give the 18-year-old women a pass for dating a 51-year-old man.
Yeah,
she's she's some victim here or something. Mm-hmm. She's not part of this, and she's not choosing this as well. And we all know why. Let's be honest with yourselves. We all know why they are choosing each other. 51-year-old man, attractive 18-year-old woman, perfect sense. A professional, secure, stable, money in his pocket is attractive to a young woman. So I just don't know why we can't be blunt about it. This is what it is. This is the truth. This is why this happens.
Come on, isn't this just daddy?
No, this is stability.
Aren't they just working out?
No, this is stability.
I think they're working out issues from there.
No, they look around at, they look at people they look at their 19-year-old, 18, 19, 20-year-old men, and they're completely worthless and incompetent and childish because 18, 19, 20-year-old men are. But completely true. So you go to a competent, accomplished, successful 51-year-old. It makes sense. Why do I want to deal with stupidity when I've got someone who's, settled and secure?
Because it's not going to last. You're a flavor of the month.
But she's always going to be flavor of the month. But she's always going to be 30 years young. She's always going to be attractive to him. Because even in 30 years, he's 80. She's going to be 50. And she's going to be free. And he's going to be dead. So, but what do you do as a parent? There's nothing you can do realistically at this stage.
She's 18.
She's 18. There is nothing you can do, but understand why she did it. And it's not, we like to call them gold diggers. That's not true. It's stability. I mean, there are some gold diggers, but for the most part, it's stability. They look around and they see all their ne'er-do-well people their age are kind of ne'er-do-well and incompetent and worthless because they haven't figured out life yet because they're 20 and they haven't figured out life yet. And that 50-year-old person who's got a nice house and a nice car and a settled life, yeah, looks pretty good.
And he's not erratic.
Yeah.
And he doesn't tell stupid jokes.
Oh, no, he tells stupid jokes. It's even worse. He's probably telling dad jokes at this point. It's even worse. But
no, but they're not at your expense. He knows not to do that.
Yeah, you've got an actually mature, a mature human being versus an immature human being. It makes sense. And from a man's perspective, it's an attractive young woman. Of course, everybody likes attractive young women. Literally, everybody does. Even women like attractive young women. It just does. Attractive young women are more attractive than attractive young men. They just are. Don't believe me? Ask women. Okay, what's next?
How can I know if my manager has a crush on me?
If you don't know, he doesn't have a crush on you. Or if he does, he's ignoring it as he should. So leave it alone. That's my suggestion.
I think you're right.
Now, the manager is 36. She's 23. Now, who has the crush? She has the crush, let's be honest. And she wants to know if her manager does. Maybe he does. But if she's not clear, then he's trying to ignore it. And let him.
Yeah, don't force yourself. Don't force it.
Yeah. Now, maybe after he's no longer your manager, you can go, explore more. But as long as he's your manager, you do nothing. Just saying. That power relationship causes issues. So, okay, what's next?
My husband is not attracted to me again. Together for 13 years. How would you handle this? Dude, this is just part of being in a long-term relationship. That's physical stuff comes and goes. You're going to have periods of time, where it's, some people go, oh, we're just roommates. How about you work on your relationship and, and you get closer with each other during this time. That's my 2 cents.
There you go. Now, remember, they're 29 and 31, so they're about 30. And they've been together for 13 years. So here's the thing. My guess is it's not that he doesn't find you attractive. He probably finds you just as attractive today as he did 13 years ago. That's generally how these things work. And then, unless you've let yourself go, but most of us have rose-colored glasses, and we ignore that kind of thing anyway, because we just don't see it. It is what it is. But the reality is, you've hit a point in your relationship where your intimacy, for whatever reason, is low, and that makes you feel unattractive, which kind of spreads the lack of.
Yeah, the
intimacy.
first time you go through it, but she's experienced this before.
She's still only 30.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay. Sorry.
And
Sorry.
they've been
My
together
bad.
13 years. She's 30 to 13 years. So they've been together since they're teenagers. So they don't have a lot to compare this to. They don't have a lot of perspective, which is fine. But this is perfectly, the ebb and flow of relationships. Of, you get stress, and you're no longer rabbits. He's 30. He's no longer in his 20s. It's no longer the always on function. It's sorry, we get old, and we get old faster than you guys do. And she's about hitting her peak, right? The theoretical peak, and he's past it. So there could be mismatches. There's all kinds of things that happen in this kind of thing. But
oh, that's right. She's 30. How old is she?
She's 30. She's 29. He's 39.
Oh, she's 29. Okay, no, I was going to say she's got a couple. 36 is when it really hits, and that lasts for a good 10 years.
So, anyway, yes, but your advice was correct. Your advice that you work on the relationship itself, and you let the physical intimacy and attractions will follow.
They really will.
Yeah.
You fall in love again.
Well, it's not that you've fallen out of love. You remember why you like each other.
You forgot.
You do forget.
Yeah.
The drone of day-to-day life, man. You can literally forget why you like each other. Oh yeah, he's really funny. Oh yeah, she's really sweet to me. So I forgot, and because you guys are busy and you forget to do those little things, or he hasn't had time to be funny because he's been working too long, or your schedules don't match, and you kind of forget all those little things. So yeah. So work on the relationship. That's how you handle it. Okay.
I was warned not to marry my girlfriend by her best friend. What now?
Okay. All right. So he's a 29-year-old male. He was told by his gay friend not to marry. No, he's her gay best friend not to marry her.
Yes.
Okay, but why?
He didn't say. Just you shouldn't marry her. It's just she's not the one for you.
Well, because it could be an honest thing, or it could be he's thinking he's not the one for her, and he's trying to sabotage it that way. Or your gay best friend isn't as gay as he thinks he wants to be. Or there's all kinds of
He may be bi.
There's all kinds of potential theoretical things. So it's the reason why, get the reason why. And if the reason why makes sense to you based upon what you know, then you might consider it. But if it's kind of from left field, you generally, ignore those kind of things.
Just ignore it.
Yeah. If he's saying something that's been kind of a red flag and bothering you anyway, but you've been ignoring it, okay, fine, then maybe it's something for you to think about. If he comes up, but if there's something that doesn't ring true at all, then you ignore it. How sometimes we can ignore, that's only one red flag.
Yeah.
And so you kind of ignore it, and then someone else, it's a bigger red flag than you think it is after someone else gives you the perspective. I will leave the opportunity for that. But for the most part, don't take other people's opinions of your relationship.
That's good advice.
So, but it doesn't mean you ignore them either. Take information in and make the best judgment. Okay.
Okay, now we're moving to our intimacy questions.
Okay.
Sex is a chore. Okay. Now I don't want to do it. The wife is like, she's in one of those periods where she's just not feeling very sexual, but she's like, okay, I'll give you hand jobs for now.
Yeah.
I'll take care of you. And he's like, okay, now it's just a chore. Now forget it.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, you might as well not. So, yeah. But of course, that was always her plan. So let's be honest.
I wouldn't say so.
That was her plan.
I don't think so. I think you're being pessimistic.
I think she knew dang well that an unenthusiastic manual stimulation is about as enticing as rubbing two sticks together. It's just
Well, we don't know that.
So
really,
you might as well not bother.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean you wouldn't take it?
No, I can do that myself.
Okay. See, because it gets programmed into us when we're teenagers that
programmed by who?
Horny teenage boys. That y'all will take whatever, whenever, anytime.
No, remember, these are from people who haven't done anything. So, take that with a grain of salt. They don't know what they're talking about. So, yeah, they will take anything because it's all they're going to get. I mean, if you give a starving man a stale cracker, he's going to take the best dang cracker he's ever had. So, I'm just saying that inexperience is inexperience. Yeah, I get it. You solve this the same way you solved the previous question we were just talking about. Well, the 2 questions ago, I guess, technically. How do you handle this? By working on your relationship. Your relationship is feeling like a chore, which happens. It comes, there's times when your relationship is a chore. Just getting through the day is a chore,
Sorry, people, but it happens.
And working through that, when you guys successfully work through that, you reconnect and sex no longer becomes less of a chore.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel always. And if you just kind of put your head down and do it a day at a time, you get through it together. And it's a bonding experience in and of itself.
And on occasion, you might want to take one for the team. Maybe you're not in the mood when you start, but you never know. You can, once the motors get revved up, you might be.
I'm telling you, man, kissing. It's all about the kissing.
Okay. So what's next?
Boyfriend laughed at me when I orgasmed. OMG.
Well, yeah, because we all kind of look stupid when we orgasm, don't we?
Yeah, but he laughed at her.
He wasn't laughing at her. He was just laughing. I don't know. It's not. It's one of these things. I can't find it such a big deal because everybody has that stupid orgasm face, and everybody laughter happens. If you can't laugh at the insanity that is human sexual relations, I'm not sure what you can't laugh at.
I had smiled, but I hid it.
I think you should allow it to be free and be your free self in these moments. So why'd you want to put chains on somebody theoretically?
I didn't want him to feel bad. And what if they held back next time? Then it wouldn't make it as enjoyable for them. No.
Yeah, well.
I can just keep myself to myself. It's just better that way.
I don't know.
Because people's feelings obviously get hurt.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying humans look, if you think about it too much, sex is all funky and laughable. So,
it definitely is.
Yeah, so don't think about it too much is my suggestion. No, just let it go. All right, what's next?
My man wants a 3-way, but only his way. She wants 2 guys. He wants 2 girls. And she's like, no. I ain't gonna do that.
No, you go both or no. That's in that kind of situation. That's what that is. That's the easiest question we've answered all night.
I know. Either you both agree or it's a
both
no.
or none.
Yeah, if you can't both agree, then it's a no-go.
Yep, that's the easiest question we've answered. All right, what's next?
What does it mean when the vagina is pulsating?
It means there's a lot of blood flow and it's pulsating with the heartbeat, essentially. You're all swollen.
Pretty nifty organ, if you ask me.
I'm just saying. That's essentially what it means.
And then it gets big enough to let a baby pass through, and then shrinks back again. That's just amazing.
Okay, but not the question they were asking.
I know. Sorry. I was just ruminating.
Yeah.
I was expounding.
Yeah, well, yeah, what it means is you're either excited or, trying to think of a pleasant way to say that second part of that question, and I can't think of it, so I'm not going to say it. All right, so what's next?
Men, do you really lose all sexual desire after ejaculating?
Yeah, pretty much.
No way, really?
Unless you're a teenager. Yeah. And even teenagers lose it for about 30 seconds. So, yeah. It's like a rubber band, man. Boing. And it's just a thing.
Huh.
It's gone.
Huh.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, because we can keep going.
Yeah, I know. Nature's a cruel mistress.
And y'all roll over and take a nap.
Yeah, because...
And we're all energized and ready to go.
Well, okay, there is a couple reasons for that as well. We often have to do most of the work. Okay, so by the time we're done, you're a little tired. It's like you run a mile sprint, you want to lay down for getting some rest. You guys, the heart rate's up and everything. Now you're all jazzed and ready to go. You guys didn't run a mile. You guys got to ride on the back of the bike. Be a little fair here. I think you guys would change if you guys had to, fully change roles on that kind of thing.
No way, man.
Yeah, because
sorry.
Your thighs would hurt. I'm just saying. Back would hurt. All the stuff that we have to put up with that we shut up about.
Y'all's back starts hurting?
Yeah.
How come you guys don't talk about this stuff?
Because you'll say no even more often. And then you'll try to tell it's for our own good. Look, we ain't giving you that kind of... No. We're not telling you guys that.
I learned so much on these shows. I really do.
You know how much I'm such in trouble from the manosphere now. All right.
Okay, last one.
Yeah, we've already answered this question.
We already have. Are they just bad? We have hand jobs just bad. BS they are.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, unenthusiastic ones are, I suppose, if the mood is right.
And she's really into it.
And yeah, but it's kind of a hard thing to be into. So by definition.
Well,
everybody's got their thing. Some people like that.
Some people just to switch it up. Sometimes I used to do that.
So, but as a general rule of thumb, no, they're
just a little something different.
Anything you can do for yourself it's a pretty good bet that it's not something you're overly interested in having someone else do for you.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun too.
I'm just saying. All right, we're out of here. This is going to go sideways, so we're out of here before I get myself in trouble. Have a good night. We will see you next week. Please remember. Yeah. Oh, wait. I already said that. Please remember, have a good night. And please remember to love everybody, whatever the exit is. I'll fix that.